Hey guys, last fan of the night. For behind-the-scenes footage, including some behind-the-scenes footage of this particular fan, you can go to patreon.com/dspiffy. So what we have here is a Monte Carlo Giarre. The lovely Rick is going to try to show the box in frame. I want to shout out Delmar Fans and Lighting. We'll get into a little bit of why. So if you followed my channel for a while, you know I have an original Morelli that was restored before I bought it and had some repop parts, I think, and was rewound and just a lot of rejuvenated. And I liked it. Thought about putting it in my living room. Didn't really want to put it in the living room. It was, you know, it was a beast of an antique, but I wanted something a little more, you know. Yeah, no, Pete and I already went through that before. So Pete and I tested the Quorum replica of the Morelli, which I don't remember what it's called, but you can go to my videos. And I think we were a little underwhelmed. It wasn't a crazy performer. Grab me one too if you don't mind. It was not a crazy performer, and I just didn't love the look of it. Like, I would have been fine if I loved the look and it performed okay, or if I was okay with the look, but it was just an insane air mover. But neither of those things were true. So when Monte Carlo came out with this, thank you, sir. It's Rick handing me a water. It's been a very weathery few days.
I got my Gatorade.
None of us got Gatorade. So when they came out with these, I really liked them, but I didn't want to pay full retail, which I think is like $1,000, $1,500, something like that. And so I set up eBay and Amazon alerts, knowing that sooner or later there'd be an open box one, or someone would return it, or something to that effect. And recently, there were enough popping up for lower prices that I decided to shop around and see who had the lowest price. And the lowest price online was Delmar Fans and Lighting, who I'd heard of but never dealt with before. So I sent an email to Delmar Fans and Lighting and said, hey, I don't know if you know who I am, but I have been involved in the fan industry for a while, and I do some videos of fans. I've been wanting to video one of these for a while. You know, what can you do for me? And they very kindly provided me one at their cost. So this wasn't a freebie, but I didn't pay anywhere near full price. I got it at dealer cost. So big thank you to Delmar Fans and Lighting. I wouldn't expect that they would do that for anybody else. Maybe they would, but I wouldn't. You know, you didn't hear that from me. But more importantly, they had the best online price. Even before I talked to them. So if you're looking to buy something new, that's a great place to start, because they clearly have some of the best online prices. So this is the Monte Carlo Giarre. It is a DC motor, 60-inch, 6-speed fan. It was fairly easy to install, I think, compared to a lot of these. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I had no complaints. I was the one putting most of it together. No complaints for me. It was pretty straightforward. By the way, the official finish on this is antique iron with hand-rubbed antique brass accents and dark walnut plates.
And the finish of it is actually really nice. I'm not sure if it's coming through in the video. Yeah. We're obviously in the bay here because we wanted to do our big test space since it's such a big fan. It's rated at 5,800 CFM as the official Energy Star CFM rating. Usually our CFM ratings trend higher than Energy Star. We'll find out today. Anything else you guys want to say before we start testing it?
I was pretty impressed with this thing. I mean, I'm not usually a huge fan of like brand new stuff personally, but like it's pretty cool. I really like the attention to detail here.
It's very well made. I think the last one we tested, Pete might remember more than I did. Some parts of it seemed a little cheap, I think.
Yeah.
And it was a much lower price point, so that's fine. But this, though, I mean, it's built like a fan that costs what it costs full retail.
Yeah, this is quality all the way through. There's really nothing cheap about it.
An interesting thing about that is Monte Carlo is not who I normally would have thought of initially when I thought of quality, because I'm used to them being like the showroom arm of Encon and being kind of like a lower end showroom brand.
They're usually like kind of an up badge of.
And I would have, and Quorum I normally think of as being as a higher end showroom brand, because they have a lot of great attention to detail in a lot of their models. But in this particular variation, it seemed like things flip.
Another interesting thing I'll note, and you can't really see it based on how it's installed, but the canopy is actually dual function. You can hang it with a style bit as well. It just there's a way you can mount it without that little kind of decorative bit underneath it. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I like the decorative canopy bit.
No, I do too. I'm just saying it's nice to have the extra functionality if you do
Absolutely.
want to mount the sign on the vaulted ceiling.
Anything you have to say about it, your medalist?
Not so far.
You want to show the remote and who's got the remote?
I got
The
the
medalist
remote.
has the remote.
It's a 6
Okay,
speed
we got to
remote.
come a little closer into frame. Okay, yeah, back off a little bit so it's not quite so blurry. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, well, you want to hit speed 1?
Yes.
It's DC, so it, you know.
Yeah, they're a little finicky to get going, but once they move.
Let's see what it. Oh. So it initially drew like 0.13 amps, and it has dropped down to 0.05 amps. Let's see what kind of wattage.
Yeah, probably a night.
2 watts. 2 watts on low.
A 4-watt night light bulb draws more than that.
And what's the power factor?
Power factor is like 0.36.
Oh,
So
wow.
very small.
Yeah. Anybody want to tack it on low?
Oh, sure. I want a few.
You want me to-
Since I got the remote, we'll kind of get him.
Yeah, we don't have to tack all 6 speeds. Although I'm a little curious because sometimes with DC it's hard to tell the difference in the speeds. But
The
let's.
funny thing, just for the record, I'm standing right here and I feel a breeze off, but even at this speed.
Yeah,
Well, those
I was-
blades are really steeply
Oh, yeah.
pitched. I thought about this as a candidate for my living room. If it ends up being really powerful, then the only other factor is can I smart control it? I will talk to either Monte Carlo or Del Mar Fans and Lighting about that, and if I can, this might get a feature in my living room.
Okay, so I'm getting 124.
Okay.
Like
I
that?
I don't have the calculator. I don't know who has the
That should
calculator.
be
Oh,
exactly
Right
30, right?
you want to hand it here, or you want me to do it?
Yeah.
You want to do it? Yeah.
Which looks about right. I don't have to do that.
31.
Yeah, that looks that.
Looks about right.
Yeah, like I'm amazed that I'm standing here and I feel something.
Do you want to do the anemometer at low?
Couldn't hurt. Yeah, why don't we do it?
I'm curious because you're saying it doesn't look like it's moving any
No, I
air.
feel it. I mean,
Let me turn off my my blower fan.
now, granted, you're not going to feel anything over there, but I'm under it and I definitely feel something, like even at 30 RPM, which is, almost nothing.
Turn the blower fan back on then.
$157 is the highest I'm seeing.
I don't think we've ever. Maybe we have done anemometer on low times 19.64. So on low, that's about 3,000 CFM.
I believe it.
And that's about as much as like a kind of. I think that's a little bit less than like a 36-inch blender fan or some other 36-inch flat-bladed non-industrial. But other, we haven't tested any like terrible 36-inch fans. We've basically tested.
I gotta bring that CEC George in.
Yeah, for the one from Habitat.
Yeah,
I want to do that. Okay, Pete, you want to hit?
Speed 3.
Yeah,
Oh,
speed two.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I'm not gonna do the. I'll just do the test when we get the high.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think low and high is a good.
Yeah, that'll be our measurement. So, I mean, definitely sped up a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I said, I think like IntelliTouch, it goes to high first, and then settles back down. And looking at the, I wasn't looking at the current draw that time, but that's what it did on low. So we've got 0.07, 4 watts, power factor of 0.41.
Okay.
So if I do put this in, excuse me. If you guys can't tell, we've had some weather.
It's extremely hot and humid.
Well, it's cooled down. It's not warm anymore, but it is.
Humidity is
humidity.
just
It is
sticky.
still like it's one of those days where it like desperately needs to storm, and you can feel it in the air. But yeah, we had 3 days of over 100, and now it's like 80 something, but
Yeah,
very
ready for
humid.
Speed 3.
Yeah.
So that's part of why my blower fan is on. As you hear it in the background. The Monte Carlo is not actually making any sound, but that's pretty standard. I don't think we've ever had a DC motor fan make noise.
No.
I think that might be one of the key advantages. of DC motor fans.
I got a unique idea for the roof test today. And based on where I'm looking, you probably have.
Yeah, I figured it out, but you'll have to lift it up so people can see on cam. Maybe hold it up on the ladder, which will be the first time I think that will appear on camera too. So that'll, because I don't think we did. Did we do maybe a behind the scenes video? So we got 0.1. It is interesting that it does not seem, it's about 7 watts, half a power factor. It is interesting that the speed appears to be very gradual, but the current draw has more than doubled. I don't think the speed is more than doubled, but the current draw is more than doubled, which is interesting.
Speed 4.
Here's speed 4.
Do we know how the speeds work on a DC motor? Is it just like a...
I think it's like in Teletouch where it jumps to high to accelerate.
Well, I know, but like, what is it? Is it like resistors or something that's...
No. My understanding, and granted, I've not dug into this because I've never had to. My understanding is it's like a servo motor. You guys know what a servo motor is?
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
It's like the motor that would be in like a floppy disk drive or even like a conveyor belt, where it's a DC motor and a computer is giving it specific data on how many RPMs to turn and for how long. So if you're doing something like reading data off a CD and it needs to change quickly, it can change on a dime based on what the computer is telling it.
Exactly.
So the motor is capable of going any number of speeds, and it needs a circuit board to tell it.
Right.
And as opposed to it's not like AC ceiling fans where there's no
computer board in that. It's going to just all be components that literally are tied right with the motor.
Well, even in fans that have a computer board, like in Teletouch or Comfort Touch, it is separate from the motor. The motor runs if you just apply power to it, and you're wiring some other form of control in series with it, whether it's a circuit board in the motor housing or a wall control or some combination thereof. It's 0.18, 12 watts, still a power factor of 0.55.
Okay, so you're speed
5.
5.
Whereas a DC motor, if you just give it straight power,
Fireworks.
it's not going to work. That's for sure. Whether you give it straight AC or even if you give it straight DC, I don't think it would turn even if you gave it straight DC voltage because it doesn't know what to do.
It needs the signal from that computer.
It needs the computer to specifically give it. I actually, that's a good question. I don't actually know what would happen if you took a DC motor, whatever the peak DC volt. Let's say the highest voltage was 18 volts, and you just gave it straight 18 volts DC without the circuit board. I don't know what that would do. This would be a great Alec topic.
Yeah,
I should ask him if he would do that. Okay, this is quite a big jump now. 0.36 amps, 26 watts, power factor of 0.58.
All right, time for speed 6, which is high.
Speed 6.
Okay.
I mean, which, as you guys will notice, it's not overly, well, we'll see in a second, it's not overly fast RPM, but it's definitely moving air. I can feel it over here.
Yeah, I thought maybe the RPM, when we did a little brief test before the video, I thought it seemed pretty slow. And then when we looked at the airflow, it turns out that, look at how that fucking 85, you guys can't see it because
I see it, it's bouncing.
The meter's in the way. But that fan over there the blade's really bouncing. 0.45 amps on high, which honestly, there are some AC motors that draw about that.
On low.
Some of the cheaper ones today.
Yeah.
32 watts, power factor of 0.59. So the current draw isn't crazy different than an AC fan.
Button here, what's that?
Bottom button is called the breeze function, which seems to be similar to some of the functions that like IntelliTouch and Comfort Touch had. We'll try it. We'll try it on camera for sure. My understanding is it just cycles through the speeds.
Okay.
That's absolutely pushing good air, just like that. All right, let's see what the...
RPM?
Yeah, let's do RPM. Uh, 355.
255 you said?
355.
Total?
Yeah. I did it again, but that's good. 350, 351.
I mean, it seems slow. It doesn't seem that slow because that's, we're
Now
talking.
jump to 486. Kind of
Do try it on the blade arms.
Now it's a 718.
That seems about right.
Yeah, I think that's a little reading. Yeah, 718.
So that would be about 180. I mean, it's a.
That, I don't know.
It doesn't look 180, but it's also a 60-inch fan, and you know that RPMs are deceptive. It does. I mean,
I would have bet this was like 120.
that's what it looks like to me, but none of the measurements are coming up around there. What was the? Yeah, because the other one you got was
Let's
like.
try one more time. I don't believe that. 694 that time. Now for it.
Do we want to try with the piece of the tape? Because those are not very reflective blades. It might help to have the reflective tape.
353.
Try where the blade arms go, like the arm itself, not the badge. Like right, yeah, right. There's like the space there. What are you getting there?
Now I'm getting a very clean 345.
It seems very slow, but I don't know. That's that's about 86. But you said it was very clean.
That was, yeah, I mean, that's not a test bid. Get it 336, 330. It's hovering around 340, fluctuates slightly, but that's been the same every time. Yeah, try 340. I'm gonna lock that in.
Yeah, that would be 85, which it definitely does. It definitely seems faster than that, but it also seems slower than the. I don't know. Like I said, if we want to try again, we can try again with the reflective tape. Pete, your metalist, do you have the reflective tape?
Not offhand.
Okay, well, we won't worry about it for now. Because the real importance is going to be the RPM. CS, yes, I meant the CFM. We'll edit that in post.
Getting 511 is the highest.
That checks. So the number for 60-inch is...
19.64.
Yeah, that's 10,000 CFM, which is almost double the rated CFM. I have a feeling with this blade size and steeply pitched blades that this is probably moving air a little more similar to like the way an HVLS fan does, where you're probably getting gusts from it instead of a steady stream.
Yeah.
Is that about what you're feeling up there?
No, it feels very gusty, not like a. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a lot like an HPL. It's like just standing up here, it reminds me of that.
Yeah, because that's with that blade pitch, it's probably operating a little more on velocity than
It's operating off pitch rather than speed, I would say.
yeah. So, okay, well, time for spin down. I guess I have the remote. And I will hit off. What do we want to do next? We can either do reverse, and I would do all 6 speeds in reverse, but we could do like a couple of them.
I do high and low on reverse.
Or we could do 0 to high, or we could do the breeze mode that we don't really understand.
Probably 0 to high.
Let's do 0 to high and
Okay.
reverse.
You guys, who thinks, that was a very fast spin down. Who thinks no inrush?
See, actually, that kind of makes sense.
Let's see.
I would say no rush.
What do you think, your medalist?
Little inrush.
Okay, I'm up with big inrush. So let me hit speed 6.
That's kind of the best. You sure it's on reverse?
I didn't reverse it, no.
Oh, we're just doing 0 higher.
0 to high.
I don't know. I could see this
What?
thing. I could see this thing in your living room.
I could, actually. I gotta figure out if it can be smart controlled.
Yeah.
And, okay, yeah, it took a very long time to climb to, it's not even at full current yet, actually. It's still climbing. It's really trying to take its time and figure out what it does. So there's definitely no inrush. It's at 0.45, but when we tested it before, 0.46 was the highest, so I don't know if it's going to get there or not. Again, we've definitely had some fluctuations in current draw in our tests tonight, for which we blame Rick. Now we're at 4.6. Okay. So let's hit reverse.
Was that center button reverse?
Center button is reverse.
Okay. Yeah, it's servo motor acting.
What was that, a bug?
I think it was a can expanding.
Ricker sheep.
Yeah, Ricker sheep. I've not seen any sheep today. Have you guys seen sheep today?
No, sheep in the woods. He said so.
Oh, who's...
Oh, you weren't there yet. No, Steve said something about that the sheep were like way back there right now.
Yeah.
Where was I?
I don't
Not
think you were
here yet.
I was actually here before you.
Oh.
got a little bit.
I thought I pulled up at the same time as you.
No, I was about 10 minutes before, which is unusual.
Yeah, I didn't see Steve today.
No,
He's-
he stopped by in his van when he saw me pull in. I'm not sure.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
before you got here.
Interesting that our highest current draw in reverse is quite well. Let's give it some time.
Yeah, a little bit, Gus.
I wonder if it still needs this much adjustment time after it's been up and running for a while, or if this is a new out of the box thing.
Right.
Again, my experience with DC motor fans is limited. For me to own and or test a DC motor fan, it's got to be one of two things. Either somebody, the company that made it, the showroom, somebody's got to be like, would you please test this? Or I have to really, really like it. Which, like the drone, I love the drone. Pete, you have a drone?
No, I do not.
I wonder if I still have mine, because I'd love to do that on the CFM test. That probably performs
Yeah.
about like this. when they came out with the drone, I was like, I want one. I think that's one of the only Fanimation products that I specifically said, like, when I was working for them and putting my input in on new product designs, which may or may not have gone anywhere. I feel like it for surely did with the Ascension. It may have with the drone. It may not have.
I'm sad the Ascension's gone.
Yeah.
That's like the one Fanimation product that did like.
Did they say anything about why? I've obviously been long gone since.
I didn't ask, but I just heard.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere near. I'm gonna hit low.
And I even
It
said.
definitely seems like about the same RPM.
Now, I did ask about the air shadow. He said they let their patent expire, and
Yeah, then everybody started copying it.
yep, because they just weren't selling on that one.
Their version was very meticulously well made and very expensive, and
Yeah.
people liked it, but not enough to pay $1,000 for a gimmick.
Yeah.
Versus the Chinese ones that are popping up everywhere.
Menards.
Yeah, they're making them much cheaper, which means that a lot more people can buy them. The Air Shadow was one that I really loved. I'm gonna try going to high again just to see if it's a little different when you work your way up there. It's a little surprised at how much of a difference the current draw is with a DC motor. Although again, it should definitely be a lot less resistance, wind resistance with those curved blades going in reverse. I'm gonna try turning off this blower fan and see how we can do without it, because it is a little.
Funny thing is that I don't know if it's just cross breeds or here, or if it's that thing literally pulling air from there.
I would imagine probably a combination.
Right.
We're definitely getting a little cross breeze, but I'm sure it's helping.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's not drawing anywhere near this amount of current it was drawing in high reverse, so that seems to be a factor. I'm gonna hit breeze mode, which again, according to the manual, it just cycles through the speeds. So we'll watch it and see if that checks. Should I reverse it first or hit breeze mode and just see if it stays in reverse?
I put it downdraft and then
Okay, well let's reverse it.
if it's gonna do a funky mode, I'd rather do it in downdraft.
I was just curious if I hit breeze mode, it might automatically reverse it. It might reverse, it might only be a downdraft function. I don't know. Yeah, it climbs a lot higher in downdraft. Interesting enough, according to the manual, there is a protective circuit in here that shuts down the fan if it draws more than 40 watts. Right now we're drawing about 32. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess do breeze mode.
Let's hit breeze mode, and I will show what that button is. In let's see if I can. It's this one here that looks like lines. It's hard to get it in focus. There we go. Has it done anything different since I pushed it? Doesn't seem like it. The current draw is the same. Let me push it. Well, it's supposed to be either 30 or 60 seconds in each speed, so let's give it a little more time to see if it changes, and if not, I'll just push it again. Because I'm not looking at a clock.
I haven't noticed any different.
Yep, just dropped.
Okay.
I guess that would be designed to simulate the breeze of nature, where it's not a steady...
So does it just keep cycling through random speeds?
That's my understanding. Let's leave it and see how long it does that. Not random, though. It starts at high, works its way to low, and then works its way back up to high.
Oh, so it just kind of oscillates.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I feel like if you did that on an AC motor long term, that would be kind of rough on it. But...
I don't think it would. I don't see why it would. The only thing that AC motors don't like is, too heavy of a load or stalled out. Other than that, they're happiest when they're running at their designed RPM with the designed amount of air over them. And the thought occurs with how little current this draws. If I were to put it in my living room, I guess it wouldn't necessarily have to be smart. I just leave it on high.
Well, that and you could just keep your remote right by your chair, and then
Yeah, but I'm not the only person who lives there, and
you're probably the only one who cares about the fans.
no, because other people don't like being cold or hot for that matter, but they're more likely to change things if they're cold versus if they're hot. We won't name anybody in particular. One thing I don't know is if Abby ever changed the fans in her room, like if she ever changed the fan speed. I
always that's the first thing I do. Set it to wherever, depending how warm I am.
When you're in Abby's room, you mean?
Yeah.
Ooh, Mercury vapor. Are you gonna drive by my house on the way home, on the way out, Pete?
Probably not.
I would like it if you'd see how I have the street light up.
I know you want.
But if you don't have the time, I understand.
Or it's more ready to make sure I have enough to get home.
Yeah. So, anything else we want to show on that note? I don't know what these other two buttons do. I'm gonna guess they're for lights.
How would this ever have a light on it?
I don't know, but the shaft is hollow, so it could.
I suppose it could. There were only two.
None of these buttons do anything, so.
There were there's only two wires coming out of it.
Yeah, because there'd have to be a receiver in the.
Have to be a receiver based, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's. I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
Well, Rick's preparing the Rick test. Okay. Well, while Rick's preparing the Rick test, how metal is this metal, Pete?
Low end of power thrash metal.
It's not very metal.
It's not quite.
Is it? If it would, even with the CFM being that high, would more RPM make it more metal, or would an AC motor make it more metal, or you just don't like the design?
Oh, I think AC had more power.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing that's throwing me off, is it seems to not have a lot of power, but the CFM rating is super high.
Yeah.
Both in terms of if you're using the Energy Star, that's still pretty high for a modern fan for Energy Star.
Yeah.
And then it's definitely high. Our rating is definitely high. So it's powerful, but it's slow and powerful. Yeah. And I know you tend to like fans that are fast and powerful.
Yeah.
So a little RPM would really be the biggest kicker for you.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to
That's the Rick test.
So this well, first of all, the fan, I would say it's probably it's a wood grain station wagon. I actually do like this more than I would have thought. I don't mind. The DC motor does not bother me at all. I mean, as long as it gives decent speeds, and clearly it pushes air, so I don't think it wouldn't really fit my decor, but just because mine's more just straight malaise, not really antique as much, but this could fit in a lot of different places, so definitely a cool fan.
You want to hold the light up so people
Oh yeah.
can see?
So I wanted, since this fan doesn't have a light, I tried lighting it with this. What is this watch? 500 watt.
Yeah, I think it's a 500
so
watt.
500 watt incandescent mogul base. This really cool. I don't know if I'm gonna even be able to get this.
Might have to go on the ladder.
Crate grill to it.
Is that in?
Yeah, it's in.
Okay, this is a flush mount, like probably 50s, maybe early 60s era incandescent troffer. It's very cool. And it
Uses a chrome tip bowl.
Yep, half silver. I think silver bowl is the official name.
I've seen a few. I've seen half chrome, silver bowl, chrome tip.
So this is the fan lit only with that, which I will.
Very Rick. Very Rick.
Mm-hmm. Does it actually show on camera?
It does show on camera. It's not great lighting. You can take a look.
It's dim.
I think to introduce our sponsors, we'll probably that helped actually. To introduce our sponsors, we'll probably need to turn the good manufacturing lights back on.
Clearly it has to be lit by the sponsor. To see that. Very
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
So
Cool.
my categories were originally based on money. So based on what this cost, even only paying dealer cost, it automatically is my top category. Because this cost enough to make it to my big money category, whether I like it that much or not. So that's the Menards category. If I'd gotten it for free or I'd gotten it at a restore for $20 or something like that.
Faster all of a sudden, by the way.
No, because this is on that breeze.
Oh, you have it on breeze mode.
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think for me this would be it's either the low end of the big money category or the high end of the quick trip category. By the way, we're still shopping my categories. What we have so far is for my top category Menards, because you save big money at Menards. For my middle category Quick Trip, and I can't explain why, it just it's a fitting. And then for my bottom category is Jay Leno, because there's lots of reasons I should like Jay Leno, but even more reasons I don't. So I would say this would be, if cost weren't a factor, then it would solidly be in my middle category. Appearance wise, they did a much better job on this than the last replica we tested. This is appearance wise, I think my favorite of the Morelli replicas, and it even looks better than some of the original Morellis. Just because they did a really nice job on it. And some of the original ones are very interestingly put together.
I will say this one was surprisingly easy to put together. I mean, the blades are lightweight enough that you can actually just lift that entire base right onto the shaft and tighten it down.
I would agree.
It was actually pretty well designed, I think.
Yeah, especially with those sculpted blades, you just never know how that's going to go. It ended up being pretty effortless to put together.
Straightforward, yeah, no complaints really.
Yeah, appearance-wise, it is as good as I would have hoped. I think more similar to Pete, just having a DC motor takes it down a little, not a lot for me, because I understand the DC motors are more powerful, they're more efficient, and they're quieter. I just like the freedom to use whatever control I want with an AC motor. And with a DC motor you can't, because it needs to use the control circuit board that's in the fan. So that knocks it down a few pegs for me. Not a lot, but a little. If it didn't move as much air as it does, that would knock it down considerably. The fact that it goes slow enough that I don't think it's moving air until we actually measure it and get close to it and everything, knocks it down. I agree. A few more RPM, even if it didn't change the CFM, a few more RPM would really make me like it a little more. I come from that old school where a fan to really be performing well needs to hit close to 200 RPM. But those are very small dings for me. It's still, again, if money wasn't a factor, then they knock it slightly out of the top category, but not a whole lot. I love the look of it. Clearly it performs well. Clearly it's silent. Clearly it's well made.
See, what's funny you say that is I actually really like the concept of pushing a lot of air without a lot of RPM. I actually find that it's just, I don't know, it's usually less air noise. It's not as distracting to have it like blasting at the ceiling.
Well, that's kind of, I noticed that with a K63, my 3-blade K63 blender fan. If I turn it up to like medium, it's like
you're getting a pretty good breeze.
it's
Yeah.
equal to like a residential, a
Yeah.
typical residential.
Well, I
house.
got a rip blender in my front room, so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The other factor about whether or not I put this in my living room is even though it does move a great deal of air, what's in there right now is that R&M, which is one of the most powerful fans that we've tested. So how does this compare to that? I measuring the R&M, it was, I think that was like maybe 14.
Something like 13 or 14.
Yeah, it was up there. It was more CFM than this for sure. So
The one thing about this I wonder about the living room though is that those curved blades might distribute the air a little bit better because you don't really sit under it very often.
Right.
yeah,
Then again, I mean, I know you've got the bird fan right
Right by my chair.
but still, I mean, this might distribute it a little better.
it's definitely on my list of possibilities to try for sure. So in the meantime, this is our last video of the night. Let's thank our sponsors. Of course, our legacy sponsor, FanStick, where the slogan is,
Fan stick is the solution to
all of my
problems.
and what is the other slogan?
Buy fan stick.
Let's see which fan stick he's in. Now also with light stick. Now, if you're looking for a fan stick that's 69% longer and harder than regular fan stick, you would turn to
Florida fan stick.
Florida Fan Stick. To find out more, go to buyfanstickxxx.com for Florida Fan Stick, and for regular fan stick, original fan stick, go to buyfanstick.com.
And a bonus.
And as a bonus, Fan Stick Mini.
No, it's gonna stick mini.
Yes, that's right. Fan stick mini.
This video, of course, is lit in part by the Good Manufacturing Company because we don't need excellent lighting for our videos. We just need good. I'm definitely hungry. I have not eaten since the burgers of Metalness, the Metal Burgers, which were excellent, by the way. Chef Metal is one of my favorite celebrity chefs. But I'm getting a little hungry, and you know what I wish I could eat right now?
Taco burrito Mexico.
Taco Burrito Mexico. There's only one place where you can get all three. And then, of course, I would have to wash it down with a nice, refreshing
Sperry.
Sperry. Let's see if he's going to make it. It's pretty good.
It's
very good. So what else do we have? So I see Pete's getting ready to introduce our sponsor, 81220 LLC, where our motto is crunch, 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 crunch. As of course, you can always play Rick or Sheep by going to rickorsheep.com. It's one of my favorite games to play. We got to play a little bit of Rick or Sheep tonight.
By the way, the person that owns this barn is now well aware of what Rick or Sheep is.
How does he know?
We told him today.
Oh.
Pete brought it up. He's like, "Wow, Rick or Sheep," and he's like, "What?"
Did you explain how Rick or Sheep came to be?
Loosely, yeah. I mean, I gave him the 10-second explanation, but yeah.
What did he say?
He's just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Just confused what we're talking
I'm
about.
sure he had to be highly confused. But as long as he gets that rent money every month, he's fine.
Oh yeah, he's good. Yeah.
So, and from the dog people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what else we got? Is that all the sponsors?
That
I think
is.
so.
Okay. Well, I wish there was a doorbell that we could ring so we could see who's at the door. You got any doorbells handy? I know we had a doorbell recently.
It's in there.
Is there another one over there? We got another one?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's in the. Oh, yes. Door chime. This is a GE.
A GE door chime. Well, that's a new
You
one.
mean it's not the NuTone long chime?
No.
Let's see. Let's get this. So there. Look, who is that? Look, it's Metal Jonas with a GE doorbell.
GE. But I love those NuTone.
Does love? Oh, I heard it. I heard a little
Yeah, I
doorbell.
heard it. Yeah.
What else? What else do you love? What else are you looking for, Metal Jonas?
Oh, the Homestead catalogs.
Pardon me.
Do you have any Homestead catalogs?
What do you think of House on the Rock, Metal Jonas?
House on the Rock. One word, incredible. One word, overwhelming. Just wow, just wow. Incredible, incredible.
What's your favorite building at the House on the Rock?
Oh, those marvelous organ room.
So, okay, well now we've heard from Metal Jonas, so there's only two things left to do. One is to remember that you can go to patreon.com/dspiffy, and the other is to
Buy fan stick.
thanks for watching.